Fighting games are. I don't know what's in this past week. I got bacon in my mouth.
Fighting games are Baiken, Exert Baiken arriving in other games.
Yeah.
Like specifically Exert Baiken.
I did notice that, yes.
I mean, the promotion isn't Guilty Gear and Samsho, it's Samsho 7 and Guilty Gear Exert 2. So... or Revelator 2,
okay,
but yeah.
It's bizarre that they would choose that title.
I mean, it was the newest one at the time. So it makes sense when you consider when they actually announced this thing and when they started working on it. It's weird that it took this long to make, but at the same time, Corona. So, you know.
I would think Arxis would still want, like, Strive's name put on it. Even if Biken's not there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm neither Arxis nor SNK, so I can't know the actual business dealings.
With that said, it's a bit odd they didn't cross-market this, but at the same time, I guess it makes sense. Because they don't want Guilty Gear Strive to steal Samsho's thunder. And the thing is, like, SNK doesn't have the same money Arxis does. So if Arxis revealed new Biken and Strive, she would have just easily looked at it 10 times as visually better as anything they could do in Samsho, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Exert Biken looks better than Samsho Biken. That's not saying a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, completely on a pure graphics standpoint, Exert Biken leaks better than Samsho Biken. Samsho Biken looks like, gameplay-wise, looks like you just took footage of Exert Biken and slowed it down, which I appreciate. Like, you know, I could... What? I didn't get it, all of that.
I said and made it crispier because she, for some reason, is lower resolution in Samsho than she was in Exard.
I guess, yeah. But like, I appreciate that even though Samsho 7 specifically, especially not about the big air combos and shit, they were like, you know what, you can have some. That's Biken's thing in Samsho 7. She is the air combo.
Yeah, only 2 hits, but still.
I mean, that's 2 hits more than most of the other casts from what I know, so...
Yeah.
Because like the last air combo character that I know of in Samsho overall, like the whole series, was Anja, who didn't really get an air combo. Well, I guess, I don't know, it depends on your definition of an air combo, because it wasn't really an air combo, it was a whole fucking string, where if you input the string, then part of it happens in the air. But like if you mess up the timing on any one part of the string, then it falls apart and you just die, pretty much. So, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we also got Antonov. He was released, or revealed, rather, for 15.
I was very happy to see him. I honestly thought Antonov was not going to come back. I thought he was one of those one-and-done characters for KOF, you know?
Yeah. Antonov, for me, like, he's in the middle. Like, I don't particularly care about him being in, like, but, like, I welcome him. You know, it's not freaking, it's not, I can even point a character that I'm I was kind of like, oh, well, that guy's back, why? Even on his team, because Ramon is back. And whenever I look at Ramon, I'm like, man, I really like this guy's actual, like, character design, or at least parts of it. And then I actually try to play him.
I'm fine with Ramon. I'm happy to have Ramon in the games, I just don't play him, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if there is a KOF character that isn't, like... I don't know if there is a KOF character that I would be like, man, they really shouldn't have added that character, aside from, like, I don't know, Shunai. But Shunai is kind of necessary because he's kind of the protagonist right now, so... Like, Shunai seems like a... Like, I don't know, like, his design is very weird, especially, like, the color palette, both the design language and the color palette are very, very weird. And not really...
He wouldn't be too out of place in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, like, his design is a bit like it doesn't fit in with the likes of Kyo and K-Dash, you know, is my point. Like he's a departure from the previous, the way the previous protagonists were designed, and like, you know, that may be a good
And
thing
the
because
problem is that Kill was also designed to be a young, hip Japanese teenager, but he was designed to be a young, hip Japanese teenager in the late 90s.
yeah, and like no, Shunai is not designed to be hip because the way he dresses is looked down upon in Japan. People think that the people who actually dress like Shunai look very fucking stupid. So, you know. And that's the thing. Shunai looks stupid, and that's why he's like, I don't. That and I just don't have a lot of like. I don't have a lot of interest in his plot so far, just because it was tied to verse, and verse is very boring, and KOF 14's story was kind of non-existent. So like maybe they can redeem him with actually giving him like some character. That can still happen.
KOF 14's story really only existed to undo all the character deaths.
Yeah. And like I'd compare freaking Shunai to Ash Crimson, but I've only seen Ash Crimson in videos. I've never played Ash Crimson. I don't know Ash Crimson's story, so I feel
Have
like
you ever played Guile?
Yes, I know that he plays just like Guile.
And you played Ash Crimson.
But like, you know, I never I never played the games that Ash Crimson was the protagonist for, so I can't really comment on him as a protagonist.
Yeah, I've never like bothered to actually look into the story of Ash because my understanding is it consists of, aha, I am cunning schemer. I steal Iori's powers. Now I kill myself to save world.
Ah, they're not a blood edge.
Yeah. God damn it! What was that meme I posted forever ago? Save the world. My final message. Goodbye.
Ah, yeah.
Now he's got that French chick looking for him, which probably won't have to look too hard now that Verse has brought everyone back. So 15's certainly going to have like a DLC at some point, isn't it? Of just dead characters that are back.
Yeah. Like it's either going to have lots of DLCs of characters who are dead or dead to SNK at least, and freaking like either that or they're gonna do the Smash Ultimate, which would be very weird.
There's no way they'll do the Smash Ultimate. That would have been what if they were doing the Smash Ultimate. They literally can't start off by advertising it.
They literally can't do the Smash Ultimate because they can't have K9 9999. They are legally not allowed to use the. Well, no, they can't.
And they just don't want to.
No, they can't because if they use the actual K9000 unit or whatever the fuck it is, the clone, then they might get sued by Akira again, or the right holders to Akira, and then there's Nameless, who has been unpersoned just straight up. Like
he never was one to begin with.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like from what I remember, there was a person who worked at SNK at one point. Like, you know, it freaking like 15 different hoops, so take it with a lot of grains of salt. But there was a person who allegedly worked at SNK, and they said that they were talking about bringing Nameless back for a game for one reason or another, and the Nameless was never referred to even by that name. It was just the character. So, although
it's lazy to call a character Nameless.
Yeah. At the same time, apparently Nameless might be back in the phone gacha game. So,
yeah.
Maybe Nameless is back.
More people for the gacha.
Yeah. Who cares if you get sued? You have gacha money.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm still waiting for any of the characters I play, really. Like, genuinely, I think. Wait, has Terry been revealed?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was one of the first revealed.
I forget because like yeah, but like that makes like one of the I don't know like 8 or 9 characters that I play having been revealed.
Well, you know Kim's gonna be there. There's not been a KOF game yet without Kim.
Yet. But now they're gonna put Kim in just because he like Kim is roster filler at this point. I mean he's never been really a lot more than that, but you know.
Dude, what do you think 90% of the KOF roster is?
True. Has Yamazaki had anything to do ever?
No.
Yeah.
He's just there to be nuts. Remember when Leona was supposed to be important because she was Orochi?
She might be important again because Orochi is back.
I doubt it.
But yeah, there's a couple characters like that. Like they should just have like the Sons teams. One of them is the Sons of Justice with Kim and his sons, and the other one is freaking Adelheid and Rugal working together, even though they don't want to.
Who'll be the third team member?
I don't know. They could make
Daughter?
Rugal's. Yeah, I was about to say they could make Rugal's daughter playable. And she also plays exactly like Rugal, but she's about the teleportation shit that he did in freaking Omega form.
Yeah. I feel like too much of the Japanese audience would be like, "Oh no, now she isn't my perfect pure little princess anymore." SNK, I hate you forever.
I mean that's not the Japanese market. That's the waifu market. That's not a Japanese only market anymore. That's the thing.
No, it isn't, but just Jesus Christ, you know?
Yeah.
Another fighting game news. There's a whole bunch of DLCs.
What got DLCs? Did I miss something?
Oh, I was talking about Oro and Akira.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't get to play either because I don't have the fight money, and I'm not grinding it.
Yeah.
Wait, no, there's genuinely no way for me to even grind fight money because I can't play online because I don't have PS Plus.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, because you get fight money for leveling up characters and playing online, and if you do everyone's stories, then you've leveled up all of the characters to pretty much what the point that you can without grinding, and anything that's not online play doesn't get money.
Yeah.
So yeah. You know, yeah, go ahead.
I always thought it was a bit silly of Street Fighter to be like, oh, you can unlock every character for free if you put in so much work, and it's like one character takes every bit of fight money you get in a vanilla game in single player.
Yeah. Yeah, I recently saw a post that was like, man, why isn't fighting games using the freemium freaking or whatever? Yeah, the freemium pay model. They are.
One of them is.
I mean,
and not even doing it properly.
Street Fighter is using the freemium model. It's just not free.
Yeah.
Brawlhalla is using the freemium model. Freaking KI 2013 was using the freemium model, or still maybe, I forget. And then
you could, but like when you can buy every character for $10, why would you?
I mean, it doesn't make it not freemium though. The model is there.
True.
Just because you can bypass it, like you can buy all of the gods in freaking Smite for like $20 usually, and that's still freemium.
Yeah.
And then there's the Fantasy Strike, which doesn't use the freaking traditional freemium model, but it's still technically freemium.
Yeah.
And then I'm probably forgetting some. But like, you know, if you want, like, you choose your poison. You can have Fantasy Strike, where you can only play pretty much online, from what I remember, if you don't buy the game, or you can have freaking KI 2013, where you only get one character every week to play as, or you can have neither. You can have the worst of both worlds and pay for Street Fighter 5, and then also have to pay for every fucking character they release after.
Yeah, and no single player content.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing about Street Fighter 5 is that people go, well, DLC characters. Well, if you make a character part of a DLC season or whatever, that's at least honest. You go, hey, this character was freaking made separately from the game. We want more money. You're being upfront about it. It's not a Street Fighter thing where they go, well, technically, if you put all of your freaking the rest of your life into grinding fight money, then you may be able to buy one of Dan's toes.
Now,
yeah,
I do want to go ahead and say I haven't played any, like, I've never paid attention to how much money can be made off of pubbing it online.
Not enough. They nerfed it. Like, you used to be able to get enough to spend, like, I don't know, like 3 or 6 months grinding, and then you may be able to afford a character. You get 200 bits now for every fight online, and you need
200.
Yeah, and you need like 200,000 for a character. So
as much online matches as some people play, honestly.
like, I think
Either which way.
Yeah.
No, if you what were you going to say?
I think they also have those objective lists, you know, so you can get engaged for longer or whatever. They can have their time spent up, and those lists, from what I remember, most of the missions on that also give like 150 if you do them, but it's stuff like, you know, win 5 ranked matches for 150 money.
Yeah. Do 10 parries, that kind of thing. I'm aware.
Yeah.
The one that's best is the watch one trial mode trial for 500 fight money. It's like, what the fuck? Why? Excuse me, watch a demonstration. There we go.
My favorite is play story mode. You don't play story mode, you watch story mode in this game.
Yeah.
And also, like, playing story mode for pretty much every week, it tells you to play story mode. But here's the thing: story mode takes I don't know the actual trigger, but story mode takes like 3 or 4 hours to go through completely, and it gives you like $100 because you didn't play online during the freaking thing, and they're like, oh well, that's not worth as much. So, you know.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 5.
It was pretty terribly mismanaged, but it'll be difficult to say whether things change going forward in the future. Well, no, I don't know. I think that these new guys, I've got a lot of confidence in these new guys they've done Season 5 because they've just generally done a better job, but I guess it would also be a question of what the corporate environment at Capcom is like in the years to come.
Yeah, what corporate wants.
Which I don't think corporate's going to be too bad, because like Devil May Cry 5 again had like Devil May Cry 5 had the most like fucking existent microtransaction system of all time. Do you remember that shit?
Yeah. Was it just like arms?
No, pay for golden orbs.
Oh yeah.
But every day that you log into the game, you get a free gold orb. And the levels in Devil May Cry 5 contain ludicrous amount of gold orbs that just weren't like near that quantity in Devil May Cry's 1, 3, or 4.
And then I also remember, I think I maxed out gold orbs just because I played through the game like 3 or 4 times, and I didn't even pick most of the ones in the levels up. But my ghost got around to so many people playing the game that the game was like, hey, have 80 gold orbs. Why not?
Oh yeah, that as well. Yes. The licensing fees you pay for your performance, you get paid for your performances.
Yeah. Look, someone has to star as V. Might as well be me. Might as well pay me a shit ton of money. I guess.
Yeah. So I think that if a Street Fighter 6 did come along in let's say 3 or 4 years, I think it would wind up being pretty good. The only thing that would be difficult to say is, like, I would say that it would overall be a more quality product because these guys have provided more quality characters through Season 5 than have been provided through most of Street Fighter 5. The only problem I'd foresee really being a realistic fear is whether or not they've observed that the biggest problem Street Fighter 5 faced, more than anything else, like, honestly, like, okay, like, I want to say, like, oh, the biggest problem Street Fighter 5 had was bad netcode or gameplay design that encouraged artificial footsies. But, like, neither of those things really matter to the majority of folk. What matters to the majority of folk is Street Fighter 5 had no fucking single player content.
Yeah.
Like, to the majority of people, they're going to want to buy a fighting game. They're going to want to put in, like, a week to a month of doing single player content, and then they're going to want to put the game down and never pick it back up. That is how NetherRealm makes their ludicrous amounts of money off of Mortal Kombat and Injustice. That's how Nintendo makes so much money off Smash.
Yeah, I mean that's the reason I'm not buying any like new fighting games for a while, unless KOF 15. Like that's the thing for me. But like Strive's single player stuff, I mean, I can just watch the story on YouTube before it gets taken down. If RCC really wants to even take it down, and otherwise there's not much single player content in it from what I hear. Multiplot has confirmed that there's not much single player content in it, so I don't need to care. And then freaking KOF is up in the air because KOF at least always has arcade endings. I can hinge on those.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying that single player is great for getting casuals, but I myself actually don't really care for single player content at all anymore.
I still care about single player content because in times like these, like what reason do I have to play KOF 2002? Nothing. Genuinely nothing, because it's not a thing of like, oh well, I forgot this character's ending, so I can go through it again and freaking do that or whatever. And like I can get good gameplay out of many other games that do give me also a story as well. Like, you know.
And it is again one of the things of like, I would say the reason to go back and play KOF 2002 would be it's a good fighting game, so you want to play it with someone else, you know?
But yeah, but I don't know. Like my thing is just that, like, and this is a difference, I guess, which I saw pointed out recently between online discourse in the FGC, is that like there's people like you who got into fighting games on like Street Fighter 4 and stuff like that, and they're more about the competitive side, you know, like Evo and shit. And there's the arcade old heads, which technically, I guess, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't say I'm like an arcade old head because I never fucking went to an arcade, but I'm closer to that than a person who got in on Street Fighter 4. But the arcade old heads had to play single player content when nobody was freaking taking them up in the arcade. So those people still like the single player content is necessary because it's what draws people in. And like it's not necessarily the end goal to only ever play single player content, but the good single player content is good because that's what shows the game off. And then if you show the game off well enough, then people will want to stick around enough for there to actually be like locals and shit.
I mean, I think someone would be silly to say that a fighting game's mainstream success doesn't depend on its single player offerings.
But then with single player content, we also need to like make a distinction that I'm talking about, like, you know, quality arcade modes and shit like that, because there's the stuff that NetherRealm does, and the stuff that, you know, like the cinematic story. I don't think it's well handled in fighting games so far.
Well, either which way, to finish off what I was saying,
I do think that if anyone says that single player isn't what determines the fighting game's mainstream success, they're being silly. You can have a god-awful fighting game that plays like ass, but if it gives lots of single player content, it's probably going to do pretty well with the mainstream relative to its marketing, I suppose. But I would also say that for my own purposes, and we've had this disagreement all the time, and I have a strong feeling we're just repeating ourselves here.
Probably.
But I just don't find the AI entertaining to fight against, as opposed to human psychology. And this is where we start to repeat ourselves, and you say that the AI does have a psychology to it, you just have to get used to it, and yada yada.
Yeah.
And another thing that is a bigger factor than it ever has been before in fighting game success is social media personalities.
Yeah.
Like, Wooly for a long time has been a big part of keeping fighting games, like making fighting games more popular. And not so much now because he doesn't have super best friends to work with anymore. But where Wooly's kind of dropped off, Maximilian Dude has only kept growing and growing and growing. And Justin Wong has become steadily more popular with the mainstream. And Sajam is becoming more popular with the mainstream, and so on and so forth. And so you can kind of see where those guys have some significance to increasing the audience for these games. And you can clearly see Maximilian Dude trying to exploit it so that he can get his own favorite games to be ported and remastered.
Yeah. And even when people don't have that much personality, or that much of a separate personality like that, like, you know what, or I don't know how to say it, but like when people aren't really, you know, like fighting game personalities, but actually even actual competitive players can do a double dip with story content. Because I remember I watched JDCR, I think it was. I watched JDCR play through the Tekken 7 story mode on the hardest difficulty, and it was interesting to see how freaking like how shitty the AI is on the hardest difficulty. And by shitty, I don't mean bad. I mean how annoying the Tekken 7 AI is on the hardest difficulty going against freaking in the story mode. Because even he struggled against the hardest difficulty freaking what, like, did they call Devil Kazuya anything separate, or was it just Devil Kazuya? I forget. Whatever.
I think it's just that he gets to permanently be in Devil Kazuya mode, isn't it?
No, he has a separate like Super Devil form, but I don't know if it has a separate name or not.
Oh, I don't know.
Either way, it was interesting to see an actual tournament player playing against the AI and still struggling, but still also using the tournament stuff. You know, utilizing the knowledge that he has against people and just turning it slightly sideways to work against the AI.
That's the thing I'm always... one of the many things I don't like about playing against the AI is that really, like, the only way to increase difficulty isn't so much to give the AI a psychology, but just to make it where they have faster than human reflexes.
But that's... well, okay, sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, yeah. But not always, and that's my thing. And we're once again back to this discussion. Bloody hell! like you know, you can't do set play or like mind games against the AI, but you can do footsies. You can do freaking pretty much anything that doesn't require, you know, actual like proper adaptation from the AI, because the AI does have its own its own loops that it goes through, and you can learn those loops just like you can learn people's loops, because people will eventually start like, okay, low level people have loops, and when neither of us are at a level where that stuff's being right. I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, but like even with like playing against the AI in footsies just doesn't interest me because again the AI has perfect reflexes, so they can react to you throwing out buttons that no real human could, you know?
I don't know, because you can,
and you know it's not a read because it's the AI.
I don't know. To me, like it works sometimes. Like, okay, I don't know how to properly freaking say it because it does just like if I just put it simply, then a lot of times it does feel like the freaking you can play mind games with the AI, even though it's not technically not right because it's just that the AI decides that it won't read that input or whatever the hell. But you can still freaking be like, okay, I'm just gonna do freaking punches, so it reads this and then it will or what. I'm just gonna do crouching jabs over its body while it's getting up, which could be a meaty. And if it decides that it's going to read the input and block it, because I know that it can block it, then I can work off of that. And if it doesn't, then I can convert into a combo. And that's basically like if you play, like I don't know if the way you play is that much different from a freaking like actual in your mind setting things up standpoint, but playing Rushdown against people, you just do the same thing. It's just all right. I have them in freaking in hard knockdown. So I'm just gonna stand over them. I'm gonna make them think that I'm gonna do this thing, and then I may even go for it. And the way they react is how I'm going to adjust what I want to do.
Yeah.
So you can do that sort of stuff with AI, and I mean there are games where the AI is too dumb. Like there are games where the AI legitimately is just like it's either not moving at all or doing freaking constant constant button reads. But there's a surprising amount of fighting games overall where the AI can actually work with you it does work with you to do a proper wrestling match. I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Because like both of you know that he knows your inputs, but you can still do things to make it more realistic without having to do more work.
Yeah.
And like the thing with that whole thinking through moves like that as well is that I remember there's this part in the Marvel 3 video where I fought with Goku for 6 fucking hours and I cut it down to like 20 minutes. But
yeah.
There's a part in that where I'm with Akuma, I have like 50% health, he's with Virgil, he has 50% health, and we just stand in front of each other for like, I don't know, it seemed like an eternity at the time, but it wasn't all that long in the video once I've rewatched it. But we just stand in front of each other. Both of us has X Factor. So I jump up, activate X Factor, and then hit him with the Shangokusatsu and win. And I'm like, man, that was a showdown. And the thing with that whole sequence is that like it doesn't look all that interesting, or it's not really like, it's not like we traded blows for like the last hit or anything like that. But it felt like it because in my head, what was happening on screen wasn't that I jumped over him and freaking activated freaking X Factor and hit him with the Shangokusatsu. I was thinking about all of the ways that he can, like, I was thinking about all of the ways that I can mess up with the reflexes or like freaking do the wrong read on the move. And then he just hits me once and then converts into the up-down combo with Virgil and I'm dead.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuff can happen with the AI as well. Like just like I think from how you always say it, I think you're thinking about the other person being, or the other character being on AI too much sometimes.
What do you mean?
Like it feels like whenever you play against the CPU, you're not actually like paying attention to the actual fight. You're going, oh well, that hit because it's a CPU. That didn't hit because it's a CPU. It's never that you were just a little bit of freaking shorter on time or whatever. Which I mean, like I don't know how much frame data you read, which might contribute to it, because I don't read any fucking frame data. I do things the very old way, which is to say that I just test shit and then mark down in my head that punch is slow. Which is another. Like, yeah. Go ahead.
I absolutely just play against the AI when they connect a lot of moves. I think that really only connected because it's the AI, and there are a lot of times where I throw out a move and it's like that would have connected or would not have connected if this were an AI. I mean, if this weren't an AI,
And I think,
And
go
while
ahead.
you are saying that, I do think that it's just going to happen with AI because the AI does obviously play like an AI.
I don't know. Like, I can only point to the freaking footage I got for the Uni review that's gonna be coming out whenever. Really, I haven't decided yet completely. But during getting that footage, I put the difficulty up to 5 because Uni's AI is very lenient, which is to say that Uni's AI is fucking dumb. Uni Uni is very freaking newcomer friendly with its AI, and you need to turn it up to 5 to level 5 or whatever, whichever the hardest difficulty is for the AI to actually start playing the game. Usually, sometimes it's still like, oh well, I just feel like standing here, and then you don't get to actually play the game. You just get to beat up on the AI. But sometimes Uni's AI, like that's another thing. Like some games AIs are better at some things than the rest, and some AI are just like better complete packages. Because like Street Fighter V's AI is very bad. Street Fighter V's AI is very obviously input reading. Uni's AI is bad in that Uni's AI is only good at doing combo.
Yes.
And I like there. I don't remember like Guilty Gear's AI is usually good from what I remember. But I haven't played Guilty Gear recently enough to completely know. And I'm not I'm not confident in going off of memories, which is why I always play freaking games through 50 times when I want to review them, because I don't need like I could use what I remember feeling like playing through a game, or I can just actually play through the game and form an opinion again, you know. But so
Yeah.
Uni's AI is very bad about not being really good at anything aside from do combo. But when the Uni AI, like there was a couple of times, which was rare, I admit, but there were a couple of matches where I was like, oh, the AI wants to play footsies, and I can't get in. Its defense is too good, so I need to start playing footsies too, so I can actually get in, and then I can try doing combo. And the AI had many freaking opportunities to convert into combos, but it didn't. It was playing defensively, and why? I don't freaking know. The character the character isn't a particularly a defensive one from what I remember, whichever one did it. But like, yeah. And then the other one was that one I remember because it's the ending shot of the review, or like that sequence is near the ending of the review. Is the Ultimate AI was beating me up so hard, and it wasn't just because it knew my inputs, because that wasn't why it got in the first place. It got in because I had a hole in my defenses, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like the AI can bait you as well, and I don't freaking know how to properly freaking close this down. But like, you know, like the AI doing a 23 hit combo on me with Atnam and freaking like taking down 40% of my health isn't that different from a player doing it to me. Like it's not like technically, does the game have perfect execution? Yes. But execution isn't why you look at a combo, or execution isn't what you look at in a combo while you're getting hit. What you look at in a combo when you're getting hit is how can I get out?
Well, I don't think the AI having like perfect execution at combo is really that egregious, because that's very achievable by a real human through practice. But like, there are just so many times that, like, where I'm playing against the AI, and the AI will be doing nothing or just regularly blocking, and I hit it with the most like aggressively slow, high hitting move in the game, and like the AI takes it.
That's just a mix-up.
You know,
Like,
that's not a mix up. I didn't mean overhead. I meant high.
oh, but are they blocking low?
Well, if they were blocking low, then the high would just whiff.
True.
The highs go over.
Yeah, usually when stuff like that falls through for me, I'm actually trying to go for a mix-up. So it works out, I guess. Like there's not really like once again it's a difference in playstyles. I play rushdown, so I'm used to switching up what part of the person I'm attacking and how I'm attacking it, because that's how you get a bit mixed up. You break the defenses. But or what the fuck did I just say? My mind blanked out. Help.
I don't play against the AI the same way I play against people.
But why?
Because the AI will just get hit by random things that an actual person wouldn't fall for. When I play against the AI, I just test out various random moves, because whether or not the AI gets hit by it is like inherently a 50-50. Even if the move hits mid or high, which isn't mix-up capable.
I play against the AI like I do against people, because the principles are there, and like words. Another thing is that like I guess I don't break down normals as much as you do. Like I don't like I'm just like whatever, fuck it, do this normal. Why not? Like I more focus on the actual like specials and combos and shit like that, and how you actually get to doing them. But when I'm doing guard pressure on a person, I'm not calculating every single jab I'm throwing at. I'm just throwing at a jab because there's a hole in the combo and you need to be guarding, pretty much.
I'm not calculating it. I'm not sitting there like, oh yes, the frame data on this jab is plus 3 or whatever. If
Like,
I'm playing single player,
it sounds like you are though.
Well, just because I'm saying a normal like takes forever to come out doesn't mean I'm like, oh yes, the frame dates on this was. It took a startup of 3,000 frames. And, like, no, it's just that I saw the move takes fucking forever to come out, and the AI ate it anyways.
And which games do you play against the AI against usually? Because like Street Fighter's AI has always been shit, honestly.
Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Guilty Gear, pretty well all of them.
Guilty Gear.
Tekken.
But that's I get yeah. I don't know. Because I guess the issue could be that you need to play against the harder difficulty AI, but like Street Fighter's AI is shit no matter what. Like Street Fighter's AI just goes from being dumb to input reading bullshit. Mortal Kombat, I haven't
And that's
checked.
normal.
Yeah, that's all. I don't even know. That depends on the game, I guess. Because Street Fighter 4, at least Ultimate or whatever, Ultra Street Fighter 4, I don't think normal input reads hard enough for me to notice. Street Fighter 5 definitely doesn't. Street Fighter 5 definitely doesn't whenever Blanca isn't on screen. Blanca is an exception. Blanca is an asshole. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then Street Fighter 2 input read on easy, so never you mind that.
Yeah.
Guilty Gear definitely gets better. The AI of Guilty Gear definitely gets better about actually being engaging and shit like that. The higher you go in difficulty, normal is not great. Hard starts getting there. Well, which Guilty Gear, that also depends, I guess, because like freaking, well, I don't know. Because I was going to say, oh well, it depends, because Accent Core you should play on easy because freaking Bossino is an asshole, but Bossino is an asshole on all difficulties, it doesn't matter. So yeah.
What makes difficult isn't anything that differs depending on difficulty. It's just whether or not she's using Midnight Carnival.
But yeah, from my experience, Guilty Gear's AI gets better the higher you put the difficulty, which that leads to some interesting battles in Exort where freaking like it, because sometimes I'm just very rusty and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna play freaking episode mode on Maniac difficulty, and then I face off against the Nexel, who is the antithesis to my Johnny on normal. And Maniac Axel makes me regret living for a bit, and then I beat him still, but you know.
Yeah.
And it's usually like, once again, it's Maniac Axel making me regret living. It's not even a freaking on it, he input reads all of my moves or whatever. It's literally just that I don't know how to fight X so good. Because the shit that he pulls off against me is very reactable, and you can just easily block it, but I can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, Guilty Gear's AI is okay-ish on harder difficulties. Mortal Kombat, I don't know. I literally just downloaded Mortal Kombat X yesterday because I need footage of it for a review. Or not even a review. I need footage of it for a video. Because I'm not reviewing Mortal Kombat X for a while. if ever. And yeah, like, I don't remember much about playing against the AI overall because I just found it boring from what I remember. But yeah. BlazBlues and Guilty Gear's AIs are the best from what I gather. of my memories anyway. They tend to actually have like different freaking playstyles and stuff like that, even on the same character. Anyway,
I don't need. Did something happen this week other than the DLC characters getting revealed?
well, these past 2 weeks, but I don't think so.
Yeah, not a whole lot. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say I didn't play any fighting games these past 2 weeks.
I did. You even know about it. I'm pretty sure.
No.
I played all of BlazBlue.
BlazBlue, yes. Chrono Phantasma, not Central Fiction.
Well, both of them.
Oh, you installed Central Fiction?
I never deleted it.
Ah, okay.
Like most of the games that I have on my PC are games that we either sometimes record or don't take up that much space. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played a lot more of Chrono Phantasma because I don't have to run it in freaking 480p because it's on my PlayStation. But yeah, I picked up Valkenhayn. He is a character. I don't like I like Valkenhayn the most out of the characters that I have tried playing because like I don't need to pay too much attention to his normals because they change in wolf form and I can just be in wolf form most of the time. Otherwise, I like his specials. Which, I mean, the other characters that I've played were like freaking Jubei, Susanoo, and Kokonoe. And Jubei's specials weren't enough to make up for his weird normals, which is just a BlazBlue thing. Susanoo takes work. So like I don't know. Like I feel like there's probably an actual like proper way to use Susanoo's rune system, but I don't know it. So to me, it just feels like RNG. Yeah. And so sometimes that means that you just don't get to have fun because the specials of the character that you like are locked for the whole match. And yeah. And the Kokonoe is too easy. Just straight up. I don't enjoy playing Kokonoe because Kokonoe gets freaking big damage off of doing like, I don't know. I don't remember what it was. It was like, I don't know, like Gatlings into Hadouken, into backwards Hadouken does like 40% if it hits.
They had to nerf her massively going into Central Fiction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like Kokonoe, like I like Kokonoe as a character, but like I just feel bad playing as her.
Yeah.
And then Chrono Phantasma. I guess I finished on freaking. Wait, no, I'm mixing up the names because they're stupid, very dumb.
Yes, they are.
Anyway, so yes, actual Chrono Phantasma, like real Chrono Phantasma, not Central Fiction like I thought. I also put a bit of time into Abyss mode in both, And I'd actually say that Chrono Phantasma's Abyss mode was better because
Yeah.
it felt a bit like it was a lot more like mom mode in Guilty Gear. Exort, or not Exort, Accent Core mom mode, not Exort mom mode.
Yeah. Well, Exart hasn't had. Well, Exart had come out very recently by the time Chrono Phantasma had come out at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, the big difference is that the old Abyss mode, or at least freaking Chrono Phantasma's Abyss mode. Why can I not say that? Whatever. Was structured like classic mom mode in freaking Guilty Gear. The one in Central Fiction is weird because it's similar, but the stats were changed around, so they're like instead of having like speed, health, defense, and attack, you get 6 different modes of defense and attack, and then also health that you need to manage.
Yeah.
And also you need to go through a boss rush before you can go into the harder levels, and that's I don't know if I like that.
Mm.
And in Chrono Phantasma, let me tell you, brother, freaking fighting unlimited new, even with stat boosts, was a pain in the ass. Because you know what unlimited new does?
Zoning.
Not only zoning, she fills the entire screen with zoning. All of it.
Yep. Yep. I was about to say, it's an Arctis zoning boss, so yeah.
And not only does she fill the whole screen with zoning, but she also has like 300% plus speed. So she sends out shit to zone you, and then while she does this, she Asura Senkus all over the screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an experience. Then in Central Fiction, I guess this is something that kind of harkens back to freaking Chrono Phantasma. Whatever. I decided I'm actually gonna try and give a shit about BlazBlue's lore, at least a bit, with the games that I actually own. So I went through
How long did it take before you got to incest?
Not too well, not too long and kind of long at the same time, because apparently by Central Fiction's part of the story, the actual thing with Jin wanting to have sex with Ragnar was just like out from his character, only reserved for jokes in the non-canon shit, or it was always just a hate boner. I can't tell. Like I think
the answer to that is all of the above.
Yeah. But like the actual way Jin was written in the proper canon stuff felt like they went out of their way to make it sure you can't understand Jin wanting to kill Ragnar for wanting to have sex. But I don't know. I do know that.
And it also,
yeah.
Does it not also turn out that Ragnar and oh shit, what's the girl's name?
Noelle?
Noelle. Doesn't it turn out Ragnar and Noelle are also brother and sister, and they end up together at the end of the game?
No. Well, yes to the first part, not to the second.
Oh, okay.
So.
And now.
Yeah.
And Naoto, though, does end up with his cousin, right?
I don't think so. So.
I think that's the entire basis of Naoto's character is he wants to bone his cousin.
Unless Rachel Alucard is his cousin, then I don't think so.
I think that's the other way around. Also, Rachel's a little girl. And before you say, yes, I know, she's a vampire, so she's actually 300.
I wasn't going to say that. Like, what I was going to bring up is that, like,
I need to find the blue team's offices and burn their fucking office down.
It's very stupid the way they get around Rachel being a small child, because The thing with Naoto is Ragnar from a different universe completely, and Rachel in his universe is Raquel, who is older, and Naoto wants to get together with Raquel, not Rachel. So technically he wants to get together with Rachel, but not the Rachel that we know, but an older Rachel, which I don't know. So BlazBlue has time travel and multiverse bullshit, so you know it's good. Well, it didn't have time travel it didn't have multiverse bullshit, or time travel bullshit actually until Central Fiction, but it does now.
I thought it always did.
No, that's a Central Fiction thing. So
weird.
Yeah. So I'm gonna admit I didn't watch Chrono Phantasma story mode because by the time I was finished with some of the supplementary stuff, I was like I don't actually really care about this. I'm just gonna watch Central Fiction. But I did watch all of Teach Me Miss Lychee, which is their thing to summarize the previous games in Chrono Phantasma. And it focuses on Lychee as well as Taokaka, so you know I hated every fucking moment of that thing. Bloody hell. Taokaka might be the most annoying character in BlazBlue.
That I doubt that.
Like, oh no, you're right, because they got two of the most annoying characters in BlazBlue. Because you know who the freaking the audience stand-ins are for that whole thing. Taokaka and Platinum the Trinity.
Yes, I remember that. Platinum is Platinum is Platinum.
Well, no, Platinum's not Platinum because they're separate names. The actual Platinum, like the actual Platinum.
No, I know. There's two girls and a boy inside Platinum's head, right?
No. There's two small girls and also a freaking an alchemist from like 500 years ago who was a grown ass woman.
Oh, they're all women? I thought one of them was a boy.
No.
Huh.
But yeah, so the actual alchemist woman.
And of course, yet again, a woman in a girl's body.
Yeah. I mean, at least they don't try. At least they don't try to freaking pass it off as anything that's okay. Like the whole during that whole thing, there is a part where Kagura hits on that. Okay, why? Yeah. Kagura hits on Platinum.
I don't see where you're saying this is okay.
Oh, I'm not saying this is okay. I'm just saying that they knew it wasn't. Like they. At least in universe, freaking Luna tells Kagura to go fuck himself. Pretty much.
But Kagura is supposed to be Mr. Lovable, sympathetic ladies man, and he hits on
that one I don't get.
18-year-old girl.
Yeah, that one I don't get. I don't get why Kagura is supposed to be a good guy. That was a mistake.
Well, my understanding was that, like, for a while he was just hitting on what's her name, Noelle's rival. What's her name?
Tsubaki?
Yeah, my understanding was at first he just hit on her, which is a different relationship. But when he's hitting on obviously underage girls, it's like, well, it's time to burn down the blue team's offices again.
Yeah, it's like
they only just rebuilt it, but don't worry, I got more matches and gasoline.
Like it's a I don't know how he was originally by the time of Chrono Phantasma, or at least the shit that was supposed to be like, because I don't think Teach Me Miss Lychee is supposed to be canon. Like I think it's just shit takes on the characters, and then they also explain the lore during the shit takes pretty much.
Yeah,
and like in that, Kagura was hitting on everyone and anyone that moved that could be considered female, but. In Central Fiction story, Kagura was at least like Kagura was decent enough to only hit on women who were of age. So I don't like once again it's a thing of I don't know if they just thought that was funny for some reason, or if that's actually supposed to be a character trait. Either way, bad move. But yeah. So Platinum has that woman who is actually like tolerable, and also Luna and Senna, who and like Senna is tolerable, I guess. She's all right comparatively. Luna is very annoying and also the main personality. So
Yep.
yeah,
Now, if memory serves, Platinum is considered by far the least popular BlazBlue character in the West, and like by far the most popular in the East.
I don't know because I don't really look into that stuff.
I imagine she's competing with Ragna because Japan has a serious fetish for main characters, but yeah.
Yeah,
It's like the same thing of
Bridget.
fuck what Bridget. Yeah, Bridget's not really hated in the West though. Bridget in the West is just kind of like, haha, it's a dude, it's a cross-dressing dude, you know.
Yeah. No, well, now people misunderstand Bridget because they think that Bridget's trans, which Bridget is not trans. Bridget was forced to cross-dress from a young age and is really wants to be manly, from what I gather. So
And continues to dress like a woman anyways.
yeah, I mean, look, if you can be buff and also dress like a nun, if it looks good on you, who cares?
Also, why is Bridget a grown man that looks like a little girl?
Because he's not a grown man. He's a teenage boy.
What? Oh, he's only okay. I thought Bridget was a grown man, which was honestly funnier. Really?
No, but I saw someone made a mock-up of Bridget in Strive. And they were like, well, obviously since it's been a while since Bridget has appeared in a Guilty Gear game, we need to redesign him a bit. So they redrew Bridget to be the buff Riku freaking body in a non-costume.
Not only would Bridget be older, but also Exard and Strive have like crazy muscular dudes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, compare Slayer and X2 to Slayer and Exard, right?
Yeah.
Like it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. Slayer's not that noticeable. So it's like the big
Slayer's
jumps.
like got square fucking shoulders and huge pecs under that suit in Exard.
I don't remember his pecs. I remember his shoulders.
He like puffs his chest out like crazy in Exard. It's like he's fucking He-Man under that suit.
Maybe he is. You don't know.
That would explain a lot, honestly.
But like the biggest like buff, the unbuffening is Zato to me.
Zato's got a lot buffer. So is Chip. Chip's got a lot buffer.
But yeah, but Zato like Chip was always supposed to be kind of buff, I guess. Zato was very scrawny in XX from what I remember, and then it was like normalish looking in Xrd, and then bodybuilder in Strive.
Yeah, I mean, Chip was supposed to be svelte though in X2 and even in Exard. It's just for some reason now he's fucking ripped in Strive.
Then you need to be ripped if you want to be a president, I guess.
Well, if there's anything to learn from G.
Yeah.
Man, everybody got ripped in Strive. Soul was huge in Exard and he got bigger in Strive.
Somehow. Oh yeah, Jekko got announced. We didn't talk about Jekko because who cares?
I'm happy to have Jacko there. I'm not going to play her, but I'm happy to have a different playstyle there.
I genuinely don't care enough to freaking have an opinion one way or another. Like the thing once again with Strive for me is that like there's I disagree with a lot of the game design decisions enough that like genuinely they could announce all of my mains in a free pack tomorrow and I'd be just like, well, okay, tell me when I will actually want to play the game. Like tell me when they change enough shit for me to actually want to play this game. Because the characters matter a lot, but the actual game you're playing them in also matters a lot. And if you don't like either, then it's kind of hard to play a fighting game, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to freaking BlazBlue's story, I guess. So I went through all of those freaking like short things to catch you up on the world and stuff like that for Chrono Phantasma story. Then proceeded to skip Chrono Phantasma story because I did not care about Jin Kisaragi, especially after most of his screen time was spent very much implying that he wants to rape his brother. Not even just straight up have sex, rape.
Yep.
Then I started up Central Fiction's story, and the actual name of the game it ties into the story. Funnily enough, unlike Guilty Gears.
I think all the BlazBlue subtitles actually tie in, don't they?
I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I wouldn't know because I didn't go through all of the other games' story modes. But
why would you?
But the essential fiction is actually what they live in, the actual world they live in. Because the world is a lie. Society has made it this way. Genuinely, that's not a joke. I just realized that's not a joke. Why is it not a joke?
I mean, BlazBlue's always been about there being like a crazy authoritarian power in the future.
No, that's the NOL. That's the thing that Jin and Co are working for. Or like, you know, so some other people are working for. But basically, the BlazBlue story is pretty much just, and this will sound a lot like Guilty Gear story because hey, guess what? BlazBlue kind of wanted to be Guilty Gear a bit, but
yeah,
like I do wonder how much freaking Guilty Gear influenced BlazBlue's story because a lot of things line up too much for me to not think that the I forget the name of the guy who ran Guilty or freaking BlazBlue. But like it feels plagiarized a bit. At the same time, like Guilty Gear's story ended after BlazBlue's, so they and some of the things that like some of the things that line up were during the ending for both of them and stuff like that. And like, you know, I don't know if it's just like that guy talked with Daisuke about how he wants Guilty Gear to go and they made that into BlazBlue's story, or if there was actual plagiarism, or I don't know what.
Well, I think BlazBlue started during the time period where they had lost the license to Guilty Gear. So I think it was just as simple as we can't do Guilty Gear anymore. We'll do what we wanted to do with Guilty Gear in BlazBlue.
I guess, but like it wasn't Daisuke running shit in BlazBlue though. That's my thing.
Yeah, there is that.
Cause like if the director for the story was still Daisuke, I'd be like, well, okay, he did the shit he wanted to do with Guilty Gear in BlazBlue first, and then he did it in Guilty Gear once they got the license back. What? Once they got the license back? Words. But yeah, but no, it was the other guy whose name I'm forgetting.
I definitely don't know it.
But yeah, so or freaking BlazBlue story, Guilty Blue story is none other than people found God, pretty much. People found a way into the backyard. Yeah, which is called the boundary in BlazBlue. What? Who cares? People found the backyard. They also found God in the form of Hakumen's body, which is a robot. And then they were like, I wonder if God's in the backyard. And God was in the backyard. And God is also a robot, by the way.
Yeah.
And so people couldn't reach out to God because the backyard is too big. So they built robot people so that they can send robot people out, and hopefully then they can freaking control God. And God actually bestowed like freaking will upon the robot people, which scared the humans because they wanted to control God, but God was like, yo, lol, no.
Yeah.
So the robot people killed humans. Like, okay, no, the humans attacked the robot people. They killed the first robot person, and then cast it freaking next to God, cast its body next to God. And God took pity on the robot body, or the robot person, and assimilated it into itself. So God was now that robot, and that robot's will. And so humans freaking waged war, not war. I like having an accent. It's very easy. Anyway, so yeah.
Well, I'm sure Kune waged war, yes.
Yeah, or Kune very much wanted to wage war. But yeah, so the humans waged war on the robot people. So the robot people murdered most of the humans, if not all of them, in retaliation because they wanted to be people. But the first robot, which was now God, did not like that because it wanted to be acknowledged by people as people. So then it just straight up trashed the world and made a new one because the backyard is completely detached from the world, I guess. And eventually, somehow that led to the BlazBlue universe. And Noel Vermillion. Oh, wait, no, we don't get there yet. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So God is actually Ragnar the Blood Edge's little sister, Saya. Yes. Saint Seiya. So yes, God is Ragnar the Blood Edge's little sister from the first universe, the real universe, which was trashed. And Jinky Saragi and everyone else also existed there in some form, not the form that we know them in.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make sense and freaking summarize things because it's very stupid. But Noah Vermillion is a reincarnation of the first robot, which is also Ragnar's little sister, Saya, but also has her own will. And she has a part of Saya's soul, but not all of it.
Yeah.
And timey-wimey bullshit all over the place. Freaking the actual events of most of the BlazBlue games up to that point, which doesn't really matter. And the central fiction, they're like, we need to kill God, because it turns out shit just gets reset like every 20 years, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because they all Ragnar either like dies or something happens that doesn't go the way that Saya wants it, and Saya really wants Ragnar to exist because Ragnar might have died saving Saya before she got made into God by the people.
Yeah.
And so every 20 years or so it feels like with the way they summarize it in the game. But every 20 years, Ragnar the Blood Edge appears with amnesia because Saya really wants him to exist. And then shit goes bad, and he gets too powerful and nearly turns into the Black Beast, which is something that the humans made to kill all of the robot people, but they made it too good and it killed everyone.
Is that not just Naruto?
No, because the Ninetales was with retconned to be nice, and also it actually got
except for that time that it killed Naruto's mom and dad, right?
Well, no, you see, that time was fine because it wasn't actually the Ninetales that did it. It was currently under the Sharingan visors of freaking Madara Uchiha, I think.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yes. If you want to talk convoluted bullshit, I know most of the Naruto lore, but I'm not gonna go into detail unless you ask me, because you don't want that, I don't think.
Yeah.
And Naruto's lore is so convoluted and so wasn't planned out that legitimately the only reason that the final big bad exists is because the writer couldn't come up with a way for Naruto and the team to kill freaking the ultimate powerful Madara Uchiha. Genuinely.
Yeah.
Anyway, BlazBlue. So there's people who actually who live outside of the world, who were like super people that actually gave the earth magic, which led to them making the black beast that destroyed everything, and also the robot people, and the way to contact God and shit like that. And The people
Yeah.
who do that, I sound like a crazy person because I am, but that's completely unrelated to the actual topic at hand. Freaking. So, the people who live outside of time, or like Rachel, before she gets demoted into not being out of time anymore, and then she becomes a normal human like everyone else, and freaking. Then Hazama, and I forget who else, Hakumen, I think, which that is kind of screwy with the continuation, but whatever. And the whole Noel being Saya's reborn form, something or other, I don't know, it's complicated. But basically, the Noel being Ragnar's little sister plot is the whole twist of the game, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the game ends with Ragnar freaking knocking everyone out, pretty much. Well, knocking everyone, but no, wait, he does beat them up too. So I guess it fits. But yeah, it's Ragnar knocking everyone out, and then basically force deleting himself from existence so that people won't have to die, pretty much.
I see.
And the world is better for it somehow, because all of the clones of Saya, because there's multiple clones of Saya, by the way, because one of them is Noel, but there's also the other robot people who are in the game, like Lambda and Nu, the other playable people who look exactly the same and play mostly the same, but have different color schemes. Yeah. All of those, aside from one of them, all of those are reborn versions of Ragnar's little sister, but one of them is just actually Noel Vermilion. Just straight up Noel Vermilion as well.
Yes.
So, yeah. I don't like. I really like it. Okay. Yeah. I didn't finish.
Something else.
I'm about to finish up on this thing. But so the big ending is that everyone forgot about Ragnar Bloodage existing because mostly because he didn't, but somehow his sword is still in the universe. So Rachel is mourning this person that she doesn't know, that didn't have a body, only a sword, by the way. And she's like, I'm gonna find you, whoever you are. And that's the ending of BlazBlue, discontinuity at least. But my favorite part in the whole thing is Valkenhayn shows up for maybe, like, I don't know, 15 minutes at most, not even that, throughout the whole 11, they call it episodes, I want to call them chapters, but there's like nearly 100 chapters in the whole thing, the things they call chapters, but they're actually just scenes, whatever. So
yeah, my understanding is that Valkenhayn was really just like a side nothing. Fans just wanted to add it because he was cool.
Yeah, and Valkenhayn shows up for like 50 minutes, and in those like the part that actually matters about his appearance in the story mode is he's one of the last people Ragnar Bloodage sees, because he knocks Rachel out, so Rachel can't keep him existing, and Valkenhayn just appears like to take Rachel home, and they freaking say goodbye to each other. But Valkenhayn says, "Thank you for making it so I won't have to see your face ever again." And that's the way he says goodbye to Ragnar, and I just really like that because Ragnar sucks. Like, I want to say Ragnar sucks. Ragnar's actually kind of an okay character at least when it comes to like freaking shonen anime protagonists. Which is, not a big hurdle to jump over, but it's what I can actually compare him to fairly.
Yeah.
But like he's okay by the time of Chrono Phantasma. I don't know about the earlier games, because his battle quotes, like, or whatever, the things he shouts during battle, and the like like, okay. Ragnar Bloodage is best summarized by the fact that whenever I think of him, I still can't believe that he's an actual character made by like a company sold in a video game that could be seen on shelves, I assume, at one point. Like, Ragnar Bloodage is someone's OC.
Yes. I mean, say his name out loud again and listen to yourself say it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yes, his name is so stupid. Like I'm just really looking forward to freaking Sonic Forces 2 when we get to play as freaking Cold Steel the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
But yeah. So BlazBlue's story, as you can tell, is I like it was okay to go through once. Like I could go through it again if we were to make fun of it. But like I don't know if I like, on one hand I kind of want to freaking to do at least wiki dice on the rest of the games or watch the story mode online of the rest of the games just to actually like freaking get myself the proper context, so like I know I will be able to cast judgment on this one specifically. At the same time, like most of Central Fiction's story goes through the story of the other games, from what I could tell. Like it deviates at one point to actually start having its own story. And I don't know when that cutoff point is, but from the way the first couple of games were presented in Teach Me Slichi, the first, I don't know, like 25% or half of our Central Fiction story is just the first games or first couple of games stories again, with slight differences here and there. And I liked it because I didn't really actually like try paying attention too much to the actual like time travel bullshit, because it wasn't really time travel bullshit, it was multiverse bullshit, which doesn't really make it better, but you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, another one was okay. There was one scene that I want to point out because it was very funny. But there's this part where they stop the big bad. Oh yeah, Chrono Phantasma. Freaking three characters are actually just Yuki Tenumi. 3 characters are just Noel Vermilion. 2 characters are just Ragnar Blood Edge. 2 characters are just Jin Kisaragi.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is Japan's fetish for protagonists at work.
I mean, Yuki Terumi is the antagonist, but yeah.
Not as bad as Fighter Z, but still.
Yeah. I mean, do we really need 3 different versions of Noel Vermilion? I mean, okay. I say that.
When BlazBlue was really not designed for the West and just kind of happens to be ported to the West anyways, I guess so.
And I suppose I can at least justify the actual Noel and one of the other Noel versions existing because they play differently. I don't know I don't know if I say that the existence of Mu, who is Noel just in her robot form, like I don't know if I can justify her as much, but then I don't know the small details of how those characters are designed because I just don't like playing as them. So maybe you can justify all of them just by virtue of they bring a different play style.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the way, one of the protagonists, Noel Vermilion, also the boss of the okay, one of the bosses. There's 3 bosses in this game. One of the bosses is also Noel Vermilion because Hades Izanami is also Noel Vermilion, but it's the other half of Saya's soul which turned evil.
Okay.
Yeah. And like it was weird how they had 3 bosses because like one of the bosses is Nine the Phantom, who is oh yeah, I did also want to point that out. They have this whole scene where they fight Nine, or this whole arc, like mini arc, I guess, where they fight Nine, and Nine explains why she's evil now because she used to be good, but now she's evil, and like I think they went too far into making her freaking her reasons to turn evil. Like I think they made the reasons to make too much sense. Because I was like, why are they killing Nine? She makes sense. She has actual logic, and she's also like kind of trying to do what they're doing. So I don't get it. Because
this is a super Japanese story. Don't rock the boat. Something or other.
I don't know. Because the reason and Ragnar and company are doing pretty much anything is to kill God so that they can reset the world to be the freaking the way it's supposed to be, and not just based on the whims of one person.
Well,
And
killing God is not rocking the boat. Japanese fiction loves killing God because it's an anti-Catholic thing, because Catholics have like bad associations in Japanese history,
yeah, I know
especially
that
with
part.
rocking the boat and going against Japanese custom. By killing God and returning the world to the way things are supposed to be, what that means is get the Christians out and return Japan to tradition.
I guess I don't know. Because but like Nine's reasoning for turning evil and freaking making a new god, by the way, that's just the thing that she did for some reason. Well, okay, not some reason. She just did that just because she could, pretty much. But like
Yeah.
Nine's whole thing is, I know that I'm getting reset every 20 years, and I have to keep seeing the people I love dying. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a new god, and I'm gonna kill the old god. And I'm just gonna freaking restart shit my way. So like it seems like Nine's reasoning for doing anything in the story lines up with what the protagonists are doing. So why is she evil?
Because the new God part.
I guess.
Like it's again a thing of like Japanese culture is still very distinctly polytheistic. Like Shinto is still very popular, so monotheism is seen as
Shinto's
very
not really
dictatorial
popular.
and authoritarian and evil. You know.
Shinto's not really popular.
Yes, but it's still very culturally relevant.
I guess I don't know. Like most from the statistics that I've seen, most Japanese think of themselves as atheists. And there's a
Oh,
small.
yeah, because atheists are also fond of God.
Yeah. They never really explained how the new god is supposed to work, though. Is my thing, cause like it's just okay. So she made something that could be used as God, but at the same time, like one of the biggest design flaws, I guess, of the old God machine that they have out back that's still being used is that it requires like a person to drive it, which is the entire reason that you need to even reset the universe again, and like
Yeah.
the thing that you're supposed to stop. And like maybe there was some design thing in it that all that would have also required people. I don't know, but the new god seemed to be driving on its own. So I don't like.
Yeah.
There's points that I wish they could have elaborated on, because it really just felt like, well, we're going to kill Nine because she didn't ask us if she can join first.
Cool.
And then nine
That was
dies. Yeah. But
Is there anything else? Because
yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
I don't know. I'm just pictures of BlazBlue are flashing through my head. I don't know. Go ahead.
I think we've hit pretty well all the major fighting game news. Other than they do we want to talk about the stuff the changes they made to Fighter Z? Because my understanding is that a lot of it is more like precise mechanical changes. The only really huge game changing one, outside of like just more precise mechanical changes for people who are veterans, is the addition of tag canceling.
Oh yeah, they did do that.
Yeah, I remember they did tag canceling. They made it where if you start, like, it used to be that if you start a combo with an EX or super move, then it would make it where you didn't gain meter or gain like almost no meter from the rest of that combo. And they've now changed it where throwing out a super or EX just makes it where flatly you gain less meter for like the following 2 seconds, but it's no longer combo based. A couple other things like that.
Yeah, I did see the video.
You can now grapple directly from key charging. That was another big one. Yeah. So a lot of big changes to Fighter Z that, like, all indication would have you believe that Fighter Z is not getting any more character support,
It's not getting any more character support. It's not getting any more character support in that there's no more new characters. I cannot speak. Wow.
Yes, so far as we're aware, which makes you almost wonder if it's like if they're doing one last big balance update that's actually just experimenting for Fighter Z2.
Maybe.
Which wouldn't be a huge surprise. NetherRealm also, the final update for each of their games, always does crazier things with balance. So,
yeah, with some of these things, like I looked at it and I was like, well, that's nice, but this is still like I still don't want to play this game.
all right.
Yeah, like my dislike of the super dash and the freaking the super dash pretty much summarizes it. It's too much, I think. Oh,
All right.
I did play one other game, and we can keep that short. So I did play because there was a demo a long time ago that I have and still have access to because I downloaded it back then. I did play a bit of BlazBlue cross tag battle.
Yeah, it's something, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I only have access to 3 characters because the demo was released during the actual beta, and that's all they had to show off at that time.
Yeah.
But like, who thought that control scheme was good? Just
I
straight
have
up.
no idea.
Because like,
I have no idea. I remember I bought the game, installed it, played around with that control scheme for like 5 minutes, and it was like, nope, not installed.
because like the closest control scheme that I can come up with is freaking Persona 4 Arena, but like the Persona 4 Arena was on the very brink of what I can call manageable. Like, you know, there are actually very still moves that you can do with those controls because they were actual controls. Persona cross tag has a normal combo button, has a special combo button, has a tag button, and what is the last button? I forget.
I don't know. I haven't played in like a year.
Oh, it's tag rush. That's the last one.
Yes.
So like you have a button that is specifically dedicated to something that you can only do if you set up for it. You have a button that's just for tagging. And then you have 2 actual buttons that hit people. Like
every character on the cast outside of the Ruby characters is a recycled character who has had their moveset horribly gimped.
Yes.
It's very easy to see why there are a lot of people who came away from Cross Tag like, they should have just fucking done a Ruby fighting game.
I mean,
I know you dislike the Ruby franchise, but more fighting games is good, I think.
I mean, if a Ruby fighting game has to exist, then the Ruby being alone would be better for me because then I can ignore them. That's my thing. Like, the existence of a Ruby, like the existence of any fighting game isn't offensive to me as long as I can ignore it.
Yeah.
But like I wish there was a game that was a crossover between BlazBlue Uni and freaking Persona and maybe Guilty Gear. Now that it can. But
I honestly have. Yeah. That was the whole thing as soon as they announced it was, what the fuck are Persona, Uni, or Ruby even doing here? If Arxis wanted to do a crossover game between their franchises, the logical crossovers were either Guilty Gear versus BlazBlue or Melty Blood versus Uni.
Yeah.
And this is neither of those.
I mean, neither Melty Blood nor Uni are Arxis IPs, though.
Yeah, but they have French bread still under them.
True. But yeah, like that's
also,
yeah.
What the fuck? Like, why even bother to get the Persona license from
Atlas?
Atlas, thank you. And get the Ruby license from Rooster Teeth for that kind of thing. It's just such a bizarre thing to have 2 third-party licenses crossing over with
No,
what
no,
are
no.
effectively
You're
two first
wrong.
party.
You're wrong. There's more than 2 third-party licenses crossing over because there's also Senran Kagura and Akatsuki Blitzkampf.
Oh, I forgot that.
Because
They had
there's literally one character from Senran Kagura and 2 characters from Akatsuki Blitzkampf, and that's it.
Is it Akatsuki and Blitztank and that's it?
Yes.
That's kind of sad.
Why would you get the licenses to both Senran Kagura and Akatsuki Blitzkampf and not put in characters?
Because they wanted the immediate thing of saying, hey, we got your Japanese waifu booby game in this fighting game.
I mean, Senran Kagura I can understand with that, but like, do you say we got the Japanese waifu booby game with Blitztank?
They put Blitztank in for the meme and you know it.
Yeah, they did meme on it a bit, good bit. Words.
Akatsuki is just there because he's easy to put in anything because he's just like one of the most simplistic character designs ever.
Akatsuki's in there because they already had a French blood freaking sprite for him.
Yeah, exactly. Like really, between Akatsuki, whoever they got from that Senran Kagura, whatever, and the like 6 Ruby characters they did, they had to design so few new sprites for that game.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if that video game did not go under budget, if that video game did not go under the development budget, I don't see how.
I know, but
Because I imagine they also recycled music and stages as well, right?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think those are new.
Like I would honestly say, like with Crosstag, I would say overwhelmingly out of the development budget, like ignoring marketing because marketing is near always more expensive than the actual development of the game. In the development of the game, I would say probably the most expensive thing they had to pay out for was just the Persona and Ruby licenses.
Yeah. And like, you know, like I look into fighting games because, like, you know, we will eventually want to record them for one reason or another. So that's why I like never freaking say no to fighting games. Usually I don't say no to fighting games. There's exceptions, but
Right now, you're in a serious mood of saying no to Strive.
yeah, because anything it offers, I can get anywhere, any place else, pretty much, and I don't have to pay extra for it. But yeah,
But yeah, Crosstag is stinky jank. I remember a long time. I remember a long time ago, kind of near the end of the Super Best Friends, they did a Friday Night Fisticuffs for it, and I very distinctly remember Pat and Wooly both trying to give it a serious college try. Matt was just explicitly, as soon as it began, I'm not going to give a shit about this game. I'm not even going to commentate properly. I'm going to spend the entirety of this video doing nothing but bitching. And Matt spent the entirety of that 45-minute video bitching. And that was the distinctive point where I was like, okay, Matt, wrap it up. Like, honestly, I should have seen as soon as that video, yeah, this is over.
I don't remember that one, but I don't think I even watched it because it was BlazBlue.
Let me tell you, it's probably the worst of the Friday Night Fisticuffs. Probably the worst video they've ever put out. Because it is Pat and Wooly trying desperately to make something out of a game they clearly don't enjoy. And Matt just saying nothing that isn't like every 2 minutes. Like Matt will just go dead silent for 2 or 3 minutes and then just suddenly say, man, this game sucks. And that's all Matt would say.
Oh, you mean I've recorded Killer Instinct?
What?
Do you not remember?
What'd you say?
That's what happened.
No, I didn't hear what you said. I didn't hear what you said.
I said you mean like we've recorded Killer Instinct, like the original 2 games?
Oh, yes, I do remember you having a pretty bad attitude about those, yes.
Like I'm one of these days,
because we're not getting paid. We're not getting paid to do this.
I guess.
Like in the end, I do think Pat was probably far more responsible for the SPF's breakup than Matt. But like, holy fuck, have some professionality when you're getting paid to do it, you know?
Yeah. Like that's one of those things where like one of these years you will have internet and I will have PS Plus so we can play Dead by Daylight together, and I will tell Mike, I do not enjoy this game. I think this game sucks. At the same time, I do not truly hate this game until I do this to it in a video and just send him the freaking Killer Instinct video. Because that whole 15-minute video or however long it is encompasses of what happens when I truly hate a video game. And we have to record it for some reason or another.
I mean, you don't have to play Dead by Daylight. We're actually getting pretty close. Like, if we get Goku, we'll have a full 5 people to do custom games.
Well, but we need to head to like I need to play Dead by Daylight if in case you don't, so we can have it on the channel. That's my thing. Like I need to play a lot of games that I don't like just because it's what we have in common or whatever. And that's okay.
Well, I can double dip and put like a video up for you to edit if you want on the Google Drive.
I mean, sure.
Like if we ever hypothetically do a like big person Dead by Daylight game, which honestly, if it did happen, would probably be a once or twice off event because holy fuck, lining up the schedules of me, Pink, Mike, Goku, and Soon all at the same time would be like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think Soon wakes up super late now, and Mike generally wakes up pretty late. Pink generally like needs to do it instead early. Does Goku lean early or late? I don't remember.
Goku leans late because his work is usually early, I think.
We might actually be able to do it if we do it like late enough that it's after Pink wakes up from going back to sleep or whatever.
Yeah.
But then the trouble would be lining up days because Pink, Soon, and Goku all have inconsistent work schedules because they all work in the service industry.
Yeah.
I don't know what industry Goku works at, but he's inconsistent, right?
Yeah, I think he works in the services industry.
That would make sense.
Yeah. Little known fact, Goku is a stripper.
Yeah,
He services people all the time.
he's got the legs for it.
But yeah. I was going to say, oh yeah, with the liking games, that reminded me of one point that I wanted us to discuss, and it is something that came up during the uni, the last episode where we actually tried to dedicate our episode to a game. In the uni episode, we say
Do we
that
want to wrap this up before we talk about this?
I don't think so, because it's
okay.
related to fighting games. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that it was actually going to be about fighting games.
So in the uni video, I say that, or we say, I don't remember exactly how it got brought up or who said what piece. So we said that like, you know, if you don't like pretty much we said that if you don't like a fighting game's art style, then you won't want to play the game. And we said that because or we came to that conclusion because Uni, I feel like Uni is a better beginner game than like Fighter Z and stuff like that because of reasons. But people might not be inclined to actually play Uni because it's so anime. And I did actually think on that a bit, and like how like, you know, even if it is defined an active fighting game or something that still receives support from the developer, like, you know, it gets freaking it gets new characters and like balance patches and stuff like that. Technically, hyper fighters exist still. Like air dashers are still being made because I can name like 4 like right now, because there's Power Rangers, there's Thames Fighting Herds, there's Schoolgirls from what I remember, I'm forgetting one. I'm forgetting one. And
I entirely did not expect Skullgirls to get their first season of DLC 10 years after the game released. What the fuck?
Why not?
Yeah, I guess not. I guess why not? Yeah.
And there's one more that I'm forgetting, but I don't know which one. Bloody hell! Fighter Z. Did I see that one yet?
No, you did not.
All right, yeah, that's the fourth
So-
one. But like,
Yeah, Dragon Ball, Skullgirls, Dems Fighting Herds, and Fighter Z. Is
not
Dems Fighting
fighters,
Herds
not
still
fighters,
getting-
not Fighter Z. The last one is Power Rangers.
Oh, Power Rangers, yes. Which, let's be honest, Fire Z2 is probably going to be coming down the pipe soon enough.
Yeah. But so my point is that like I always complain about air dashers not being made anymore, and that's not just because like I feel like that not just because most of those take after Marvel, but also because and like you know what I prefer the slightly slower speed of Guilty Gear and shit like that. Which that's a funny sentence in it, but you know I prefer the slow footsies of Guilty Gear to Marvel. Like anyway.
Skullgirls is a bit closer to Guilty Gear. It's kind of like a midway point between Guilty Gear and Marvel speeds.
But so here's the thing. Here's why I usually like. Here's the reason I found that I usually think that there's nowhere that shit's coming out anymore. And it's because I either don't like the art style, the characters, or both in those games.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
Power Rangers, I'm fine with Power Rangers, but I don't particularly care enough. Like I don't care enough to actually like any of the characters. Like it has a Pepsi Man, and that's pretty much the only thing it has going for it. to me, in a freaking characters standpoint, and I don't particularly like the art style. Freaking
Yes.
Schoolgirls, I avoided like the plague for the longest time because the of the Witcher 3 syndrome. And then recently I actually looked at footage of it like properly with the character select screen and all, and I looked through the character select screen, and I was like, none of these characters speak to me. So yeah. Fighter Z, I straight up don't like most of Toriyama's character designs, I don't think, at this point. Like, I like Beerus. Beerus is pretty much the only character design Toriyama's made that I straight up like. But most if not every single other that's in Fighter Z, I can point out at least one thing that I dislike about them. Like,
Yeah.
and dislike enough to where I don't actually want to play as the character. And Them's Fighting Herds is just the Schoolgirls freaking character or design from what I remember, and I have not looked at any of the characters because it's ponies, and yeah.
They're not all. I think the footage I've seen, there's like one that's like a goat or something. There's a cow. There's I forget what else.
Like the only Them's Fighting Herds character or anything resembling it that I have seen is that one time when a guy drew Biker in the Them's Fighting Herds art style as a dragon, and you like and they titled that picture, the way to get more people in Them's Fighting Herds, and they were right. If Biker was in Them's Fighting Herds as a dragon, I'd fucking buy that game tomorrow. Like. But yeah, like that's my thing. It's that like I don't really like the Schoolgirls art style either, because I don't like it's not a cartoony art style that I enjoy, which there are multiples. So yeah. What are your opinions on stuff like this?
My easy answer is just that I'm not picky. There are a couple fighting games that I'm not particularly big on for aesthetic, but it's a very short list. I can't get into Them's Fighting Herds because it's it's My Little Pony, and I've always been. I respect what it does from a gameplay standpoint, but I've never been terribly fond of Guilty Gear Xrd because I've never liked to get the art style changes they made.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm trying to think of games I'm not fond of because of the aesthetic, but
I mean, it's not just aesthetics, because I also said characters, and like if you want to go outside of Air Dashers, then I can also bring up KI 2013, which I don't play because I just like there's no characters for me there.
well, again, in terms of characters, like I'm not picky, you know. I'm trying to think if there are any fighting games where like I can always find characters, and like with any given fighting game cast, like it's a difference you and me always have is that generally speaking, with most fighting game casts, you like 2 or 3 characters. I like 90% of the cast.
Yeah.
Like with Street Fighter, how many characters are there that you really like outside of Akuma, Ibuki, G. Who else do you like in Street Fighter?
I don't even like Ibuki, but I like Ibuki in Third Strike. That's a very specific time window for her that I like her, but I didn't really like her in 4 or 5. I like Zeku.
Yeah,
I like Zeku.
yeah.
I like Ed in one of his alternate costumes. And I like it when he's sexy bison.
Yeah.
I like freaking who else? I like Jury. I like Jury's 4 design at least. The 5 design is bad.
Yeah, the 5 design's a bit weird.
I like a crossbreed of Kage and Evil Ryu. Like I don't like the whole Evil Ryu's chest, but I can tolerate it. And I would prefer Kage if he didn't have the horns. So like those are small things that I can ignore, I guess.
Yeah.
What other characters do I like? Design wise.
Along similar lines, like you said, they haven't introduced any of the KOF characters you like so far except Terry, which is bizarre to me because it's like, well, they've introduced like pretty well almost the entirety of the classic KOF cast. They're only missing a few who are probably going to come down the pipeline soon enough anyways.
But yeah, but most of the characters I play I guess got introduced later because like I like Kyo and Iori, but that's a very basic thing to like you know, I like the protagonists of this game. Gee, it's almost like that's their job.
Well, no, it's not really because like I don't think either of us are particularly over the moon for Ryu.
I used to main Ryu a long time ago before I knew Akuma, so like sometimes I still play Ryu just to freaking have that different experience of not having Zankuhados and stuff like that. But as a character, no.
Yeah, but do you really like him?
I mean, no. I look at Ryu and I'm just like I look at Ryu and I just see like freaking the building blocks pretty much. Like he's not really a character. Ryu is just the constant of this is the minimum. This is the basic where you can start, and then you build on top of this to have your protagonist.
Yeah. He's like they just left a blank slate in the game.
Yeah, Kung Fu Man.
Yeah, exactly. He is Kung Fu Man.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Kung Fu. No. I was about to say like they. I'm pretty sure Kung Fu Man was based off of Ryu. No, it was based off of the freaking character from Kung Fu. That's why it's called Kung Fu Man.
Yeah.
But yeah. But like I like Kyo and Iori. Then I like Terry. Out of the like very classic KOF characters, but like most of the other characters I play are like Kim, freaking Yamazaki, Rugal, and those are the characters that I like overall. Like Vanessa, was Vanessa okay? If Vanessa's been announced, which I think she has, then I guess there's more than one character that's been announced that I like.
Yeah, because Terry's been announced, Vanessa's been announced. Yamazaki, I believe, has been announced, hasn't he?
I don't think so, but I may be
Well,
forgetting.
He'll be there anyways.
Yeah, Yamazaki is such
like
a
Vanessa and
yeah. Go ahead.
Him, Vanessa, and Rock have a pretty good shot at getting in just because they can just port over their assets from 14.
Yeah. I mean, even with Yamazaki, because Yamazaki was in 14 as well, and they're like all of those 3 are just so non-characters really in the overarching plot that they don't really need to be redesigned either.
Yeah. Yamazaki is 14 the first KOF where Yamazaki goes with the turtleneck, just the tight t-shirt look instead of the turtleneck and vest?
I don't think so.
Come to think of it, what did Yamazaki wear in the original Fatal Fury games?
I don't remember.
Shit.
It's been a while since I looked at them. But yeah, so
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
To get back to the original point, like I'm not picky about characters. I quite like a lot of them. Like it's far easier for me to list off characters in fighting games that I genuinely dislike than characters that I like, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas I think for you, it's kind of the opposite way around, which has always been a big difference between us.
Yeah. I mean, the Guilty Gear. Guilty Gear is a game. Like funnily enough, I'm the complete inverse of the player base for Guilty Gear, because I honestly like I look at even Exert's freaking like Accent Corps or Exert's rosters, and I look at them and I'm like, I hate maybe like a character on this list, and like when I think about it, there's that's actually like 3, but like all 3 of them are just because I don't like fighting against them because I don't know how to defend properly, and that can be ironed out with time.
Yeah.
And
I
like,
don't think I dislike any of the Guilty Gear characters either, actually.
cause like there's characters that I moan that they're in because I have to deal with them, but that's a different dislike. But that's not a thing of like, I don't know who to tell you exactly. Like, you know, I don't feel like roster slots are particularly wasted as much with Guilty Gear's characters, because I'm like I can at least go, yeah, I guess they do look different. They have their own aesthetic that they bring at least, and they're in a different fighting style. But like that's a given. I feel.
Yeah.
But like with games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, and I think the big difference is I got into Guilty Gear proper once we were playing together. I got into Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and like most other fighting games when I was really small, and freaking like the characters that I used to play then are just the characters that still matter to me out of those things, because I've already like freaking quit out of fighting games once.
Yeah.
And like I don't think any series gets it as bad though as Mortal Kombat, because I like Kano and Baraka just not enough to actually buy Mortal Kombat. Ermac is the only character that makes me buy Mortal Kombat.
Eh.
Well, okay, that's overstating. That's overstating how much I like him either, I guess. Because like I prefer to play as Ermac, and I will probably not buy a Mortal Kombat if he's not in it. I probably won't buy a Mortal Kombat if he's in it, if I just don't like how it looks either. So I guess that depends on the game. But yeah, like with Killer Instinct, like I don't like the actual like overarching freaking game mechanics of Killer Instinct 2013. And I think all of the freaking characters are shit tier. So I there's nothing that keeps me actually playing. I was like, yeah, there's freaking yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was like the closest to character that I like out of Killer Instinct is freaking Saberwolf. But like, what does Saberwolf do that John Talbane doesn't do better? Pretty much is my reasoning. Like, you know, design.
I mean, they're very similar visually. Are you asking visually or gameplay?
Yes, visually.
Visually, well,
because like
yeah. The inevitable thing as part of just technical progression is that Saberwolf has an appearance that can be customized, whereas John Talbane, it comes from an old game where that can't be done.
But I don't know, like the default design for Saberwolf to me is just okay. I actually will look at a picture of Saberwolf just to make sure.
I mean, it's a werewolf, you know. What do you? Werewolves do as werewolves do.
Well, I know, but you know, there's different amounts of how much I feel like I can shit on the character depending on its default design. Which is hard to do if I don't remember the default design. But yeah, like, boy,
he's John Talbane, but instead of like torn up kung fu pants, he's got cargo shorts. That's, I think, the only real difference. Other than that, that's pretty well identical visually. He has what?
Dress pants.
Dress pants. Oh, that's different.
Yeah.
And the alternate Saberwolf, the classic attire Saberwolf, also gives him like a wife beater or something weird.
Something like that. But yeah, so like, you know, to me, like, the thing to me is that like I guess John like Saberwolf from what I gathered, and like to me, because I got introduced to Killer Instinct later than I was introduced to Dog Vampire Savior. I cannot say that game's name. The day I can say Darkstalkers is when it will be announced for the fourth one.
Oh shit! It just got announced.
But yeah, so like I got introduced to Vampire Savior before I got announced the what words brain use them properly. Fucking hell. So when I got introduced to Vampire Savior before I got introduced to Killer Instinct. So whenever I look at Saberwolf, I just see like, you know, the rip off John Talbane, and then they don't really do much with his character design. And overall, like Killer Instinct, the old Killer Instinct games, yeah.
There's werewolf characters that are much older than both John Talbane and Saberwolf, for one thing. For another thing, those characters came at pretty well the exact same time.
All right, that does change things.
Yeah, I think that it was pretty well the same time. Yeah, it would have been like 95, 96. Maybe 94? Shit, I don't remember.
And like my big freaking blood feud with Killer Instinct as a series overall is just that, like, I remember...
You're sick of people praising it?
Sick of people what?
I was saying you're sick of people praising it?
Partially, yes, but I'm only sick of people praising it. I'm only sick of people praising it because, like, when I played Killer Instinct Gold, which I played around the same time that I was playing Mortal Kombat 4, by the way. Like, I was playing freaking MK4. I was playing, what else was I playing around that time? Fighter's Destiny, I think. Both of those games. And something else. But like, I was playing a lot of Nintendo 64 fighting games around that time. And I played Killer Instinct Gold because I was like, well, Killer Instinct, that's a cool name. Maybe the game will be, maybe I will like the game. And I played it and I was like, well, it's just like the graphics is pretty much what put me off of Killer Instinct to begin with, because I was looking at it and I was like, why wouldn't I just play Mortal Kombat? And that's why, like, you'll notice that a lot of times when I shit talk Killer Instinct, I'm like, it's just a Mortal Kombat clone, because I guess it's just kind of stuck that way in my head, because gameplay wise it's different. But visually, the old games were just Mortal Kombat clones, because they used the freaking the Donkey Kong Country graphics, and I don't know, like, just the way the characters moved was just too freaking jank for me. And Killer Instinct 2013, like the first two games, I'd never put enough actual effort and time into actually playing the first two games to properly freaking like tell you why I dislike them now. Killer Instinct 2013 just didn't like it. Like that freaking hell. It's sort of on a bad foot just because I dislike the characters that freaking because of Cold anyway. And then it just didn't feel good to play for me either, because of how the combos are structured. Or, you know, that how the combo system is, how you get stuck together and then the combo breakers can happen and shit like that. Like, the combo breakers, I don't mind. It's the getting stuck together part that I do.
Yeah.
So that's why I disliked Killer Instinct 2013 for the umpteenth time, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
I just don't have anything in particular. Like, there's been a lot of the episode of just me not having anything to say, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm listening, it's just I don't got anything to say.
All right, I think yeah, go ahead.
No, I wasn't going to say anything. I was waiting until you said something so I could have something to say.
All right. I don't know, dude. if we like I freaking hell, I'm getting caught up in my own words. It's an issue, but yeah, I think we've exhausted every like fighting game related topic that I can come up with, at least. Unless you want to talk about like freaking deep game design, which we definitely don't have the expertise or the freaking time for, but you know.
I'm about to shit my pants, so.
All right. We can call it a podcast then, I think.
Fighting games were.